What's up, guys? It's your boy Stevie G coming back at you with another episode of the Seamless Garage podcast. This one's going to be a good one. This one is something a lot of people have been asking me. You know, they've been kind of like, what's the end goal, man? Like, what you got going on? Like, what is the big idea? That's what we're going to name this podcast. What's the big idea? So for the big idea, the way I've got it structured is like I've really got a main goal, and then I've got like some secondary goals to go along with that. Obviously, the main goal is going to be something that's supposed to keep you driven throughout the whole thing. It's the big goal. It's the you achieve this, you know, closer to the end, and it just keeps you going the whole time. And you know, like a secondary goal I look at is something that you want to happen along the way that you still keep focused on so that it does happen. Because I feel like yeah, things can happen on their own, you know, naturally things can happen, but really if it's a goal of yours, then it's gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? Like if you have a goal, then you're gonna try everything you can to get to that. Things can just fall in your lap, but if there wasn't intention, then, you know, is it really what you wanted? I don't know. So anyway, enough on the seminar on goals. Even though if you guys want me to do, you know, some kind of podcast about setting goals and about, you know, setting that up, let me know. You know, let me know, and I'll definitely do that. I'll do like a 30-minute to an hour seminar on setting goals and how to push forward with those goals. So without further ado, let's go into what's the big idea. So I've been thinking about this for a while, and if you've listened to the older podcasts, the older episodes, you'll know that it changes over time. You know, the goal evolves. The main goal is still the same thing. All right, it's still the main goal, but it evolves. It changes as we grow. We get better ideas on, okay, this is gonna work, this isn't gonna work, or just stuff makes more sense. You know, we're all growing every day. We're changing. We're growing, and the way we carry ourselves, the way we look at life is different. So. You know, I'll just go ahead and give you guys a refresher. You know, at the beginning of this thing, I said, somebody had asked me at the Cars and Coffee, the first ever Cars and Coffee in Tyler, that was set up by Lavish Blends. They asked me, what's the end goal? Like, or where do you see yourself in 10 years? Well, 10 years, I'm not so sure, okay? But I can tell you what the end goal is. It may take longer than 10 years. It may take less. You don't know. You never know. So I always like to just give them the end goal. And my end goal was the same. I want to be up there with Ken Block and Hoonigan with the car culture. No, I don't care about all the accolades and stuff. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm saying is like the car culture. I want to represent the car culture like Hoonigan does. I think they do it better than anybody in the business on getting people together and getting people excited about modified cars. I just want to add on to that. I don't want to be better than. I don't want to be fighting against. I just want to be right there with them. You know what I mean? I want to be right there with them, promoting, you know, modifying your cars, having a good time, you know, smoking tires, burning rubber, you know what I'm saying? Enjoying yourselves. And even if it's not that, if it's just looking at cars that are really nice, you know, just improving the car culture. And, you know, I think I'm going to be doing it in a little bit different way because I'm bringing in a little bit more technical aspect. I know they just kind of push out the content on badass cars and all that stuff. They do show some modified stuff of them doing modifications. But so basically, like if you wanted to look at it, my idea is blended between, I don't know if you know who PFI Speed is and Booster Boys and stuff like that, which are a very popular YouTube name. YouTube channel. They do like the actual tuning aspect and the putting it together and building the car, and then you have Hoonigan, who's like showing them off, having a good time, doing drift events, all kind of crazy events. Also Khaleesi Cars is right there with them. So I'm like a little bit in between of those two channels, and like a morph of the two. You know what I'm saying? Adding a little bit of actual mechanic and technical aspects to it, because I also am very passionate about mechanics and technicians and sticking in this field. I don't want this field to die, like I was talking about in the previous podcast, and I don't want people to get discouraged and just give up on this field, which the field could change within the next 10 years, depending on how EV does, how electric vehicles do, which I am going to have several podcasts on that. I've already got those wrote down. Like I said, I've got all my podcasts set up. So anyway, tangent aside, that was my original goal, which still is. But I've added on. I've gotten more specific. I realized that the more specific you get and the more detailed you get about that final goal, the more likely it is to happen, because you've got a set thing that you want to happen, and so you kind of have a better direction. Whereas it's like, oh, I want to go west, so you just go in that general direction. Whereas I'm like, no, I want to go like Seattle west. Okay, so now we have a better direction, right? We go straight there. So that's kind of what I'm doing now. So main goal, here we go. Right now in my head, this is the current setup. I want to have a large warehouse. I'm calling it a warehouse. It's going to be a shop, but a large one. I'm talking about a big one. Okay. A large warehouse with plenty of lifts, and I need alignment racks also with a dyno. Probably more than one dyno, probably a couple of dynos. We're probably going to have an all-wheel drive dyno, and then we'll have like a two-wheel drive so we can have more than one car on the dyno. Not every car is all-wheel drive, but we definitely need an all-wheel drive, because I love all-wheel drives, right? Ford G63, so we're looking at Evos, Talons, stuff like that. And everything, Subarus, STIs, and all that good stuff. So WRXs, anything all-wheel drive, that's going to be perfect for that. Skylines, all that good stuff. So more than one dyno. I'm talking about, this is end goal. This is lots of lifts. This is lots of alignment racks and dynos, okay? Why do we need the alignment racks? So that we can set up the cars if they're performance-based. I want to be the performance hub for this area, and a performance hub in general. Maybe eventually, the Seamless name gets big enough that people want to bring their cars solely to here, and they could be from way, way on the other side of the country, but they want to come here. That's fine. I'm cool with that. So anyway, it's a performance hub, so we've got to have plenty of dynos, guys. We've got to have lifts so we can work on the cars, and we've got to have alignment racks so that we can set up the cars. Because if they're time attack cars, or they're road track cars, or all of the different race platforms, there's different alignment setups, and also individual scales to see where the balance of the car is, right? To balance the car, because in every racing platform, there's a different balance you got to have. Okay. In drifting, it's a little bit heavy in the back, you know what I'm saying, and the alignment with the camber angles and all of that is totally different than a drag setup, or even a road course setup for that matter. So just keep that in mind. Now, this is just something I was thinking about recently. This is just something that popped into my head that I didn't put down, and it's something new that I'm entertaining. This isn't necessarily a main goal. I need to plan it out and decide whether this is something feasible or not. Legal wise, and just a couple of other things that can cause an issue. I need to make sure those aren't going to be an issue. But the other big idea I have with that is that I could make this shop where it's like basically like rent a bay, right? Because I want this option. I feel like since I have a lift, a lot of my friends want to use my lift, which I'm totally cool with. It's awesome. You can come to Seamless Garage and you can use it. I'm cool with that. I'll even help you and give you advice if I can on what you need to do. But what I've noticed from that is that people need lifts and they can't get them, right? Like, unless you work at a shop, you don't have a lift unless you're going to buy one. And I don't know if you've looked into buying lifts, but it's pretty expensive. You know, a lift itself on the cheaper side is around $1,500 to $2,000, and then on the more expensive side, you're looking at $5,000 and $6,000, right? Depending on what you want. And then you got to get it installed. So you're probably looking at another $1,000 or more to get it installed, depending on your location and all that good stuff, and depending on whether you have concrete or not, because you may have to get that poured. So there's a lot that goes into it. So my plan here, or not my plan, but an idea I have in my head that I need to see if it's going to work or not long term, is to have a shop, maybe not necessarily this warehouse I'm talking about, but maybe another shop where you can rent a bay and you can rent it by the hour, this and that. And if it needs to stay overnight, what we can do is we'll have a lot out back where we push it out back, and we'll just charge you a small fee to keep it stored. You know, we'll charge you by the day if it's stored out there and it's not taking up a lift, but we're going to charge you by the hour if it's on the lift, right? And I'm not going to charge you anything crazy. It's just going to give people the option to be able to use a lift to do something they need to do in their car. Maybe they're good at working on cars, but that's not their day job. Maybe they do something else for their day job, but like I said, they need a lift and they can't afford to put one up. They can go there. And then also people can use it if they want to do side work. They are a side mechanic, but they don't do that full time. They can make money by renting the lift and getting a job done for somebody. So that's really something that I want to do in this area, because I know people need it and I know people want to do it. So it's something I've been thinking about just recently that I think is a really cool idea. Will it work? I don't know. Will people actually be interested enough for it to be worthwhile to build something like that? I don't know. I need to find that out. I need to do the research on it. I need to do the R&D, you know, the whole setup. So anyway, tell me what you think about that idea, and if you think that's feasible and it's something that people would be interested in. Because I need enough people interested in that to even think about it. But so that's the main goal. Get a huge warehouse with all the good stuff to make this a performance hub. Okay, to make Seamless a performance hub. My secondary goal, like I said, secondary goals just kind of are in the flow on the way to the main goal, right? Well, secondary goal, I really want to build a drift team with Seamless. Don't know who the driver's going to be. Don't know any of that. It could be me. Could be anybody that is interested. But I want to have a drift team to where we can like find out who the best driver is, put them in the car, we build a car, we try to win some championships. You know what I'm saying? So let's go down on the reasons why on these goals and kind of what I have in what I have in store. Okay, I'm trying to speak. So the path to the warehouse, I think, is going to be this. I don't want to finance. I just don't. I may end up having to, that's fine, but I do not want to finance. So the way I want to do this is start out with flipping cars. I'm going to do a podcast on flipping cars. So if you guys are interested in buying a car and selling it again for a profit, that's going to be a podcast you're going to listen to. But flipping cars, not only just buying a car and then selling it for more than what you paid for it, but also finding cars that have repairs that are easy to do, but maybe the person that you're buying it from doesn't necessarily know how to fix it, or it's something where they're not interested in fixing it, or the parts aren't very expensive but the labor was high and they couldn't afford to pay a shop to fix it, but you can do it yourself because labor's free, right? You do the labor, throw it in, and then you sell the car for several grand more than what you paid for it. That's going to make you a profit. But what I want to do is I want to build that up to where I'm selling two and three at a time or whatever. Build that up to buy a cash house. Okay, we're just trying to get bigger here. So doing the flips, buy a cash house. While I have the cash house, I'm still doing the flips over here, but I've got the cash house, right? So I flipped the cash house. Yes, it sounds like a lot of work, but you got to do hard work if you want to get what you want and you want to achieve these goals. So this is where I'm at. Flipping the houses, getting bigger houses, better houses, you know what I'm saying? Bringing it up. Then I've got to get it priced on, how much is it really going to cost me to build this warehouse? How much is it really going to cost me to put everything in it? Okay? Because that's the main goal, right? You got to have that so that we can work towards it with the flip houses and the flip cars. Because to me, that's how we're going to get there. That's exactly how we're going to get there. So getting the flip houses going, a little bit of real estate work, you know what I'm saying? Nothing crazy, but a little bit of real estate work. I'm no real estate guru, but I'm definitely interested in finding ways to make money that are solid. You know what I mean? People are going to be like, crypto. Crypto is just like stocks and everything else, man. The bottom can fall out. Guess what? Real estate doesn't depreciate. It doesn't. The bottom's not going to fall out of real estate. It's not going to happen. So anyway, do that. Get up enough money to where I've got enough cash ready to get the warehouse going. So that's the goal on that. So in order for me to do that, in order for me to become the performance hub, I've got to grow myself. I can build the warehouse all day. Let's say I had the cash right now. I could build the warehouse all day, put everything in it. But I've still got to grow as a person and be good enough to get it done. So I've got a few bullet points for that. Let me take a drink here. So a few things I've got to do myself is I need to become very familiar with the popular engines that people modify and the popular platforms that people modify these days. Get good at those, get good at tuning, and get good at fabricating. That way, when the warehouse is ready, I know what I'm doing already, and we can get this thing flowing. And like I said, that big warehouse is end goal. There might be 2 or 3 different shops before we get there. You know what I'm saying? That's just the main goal. We're at Seamless Garage right now, the original, right now with a single bay and all that good stuff. We haven't even outgrown that, but this is just a big goal here. So I've got to grow, got to get good at tuning, which means I need some seat time on some dynos, which means I need to learn how to fabricate as well. Big plans on getting a multi-processing welder unit so that I can do TIG welding, MIG welding, all that good stuff, because you're going to need to do all of that. Especially for stainless, you're going to need TIG, so I need to get good at that. I've only welded a few times in my life, so that means I got some work to do. Same thing with tuning. I've got the mind for tuning. I was actually really good at tuning when we were at UTI. It came natural to me, so I think that's going to be a good deal. But you need seat time. With tuning, you need seat time so that when you run into issues, you know how to fix them. And especially when you're renting somebody else's dyno, you're paying by the hour. You ain't got time to waste. You need to know what you're doing. So, but like I said, I need to get comfortable with the engines and these other things. That way I can give people advice on what they should do to upgrade their car. So the other thing with this warehouse and kind of the big idea is I want to bring more value to the local car scene with better resources and parts. And what that means is not only in this warehouse are we going to have lifts, dynos, and all that stuff, but there's going to be a big spot in it that's in the back somewhere where we're stocking common parts that people replace that you can't get at O'Reilly's, AutoZone, this and that. Okay, like common performance parts that are going to be sitting back there just waiting for you to decide you want to put that supercharger on your Camaro, or you're deciding you want to do a big turbo kit on your Honda, on your K-Series. You know what I'm saying? Anything like that. We're going to have it there. Yeah, you can order it online, but we got it in stock and we can get it installed for you. So that type of deal. And like I said, with the better resources, that kind of goes along with the renting a bay type of deal, but also just anybody who's interested in learning, I'll teach what I know. Like I said, I got to improve myself first before I can teach. So I know all about the tech and mechanical field, and I know quite a bit about performance, but I don't know enough that I need to be spewing that kind of information. You know what I'm saying? So onto the drift team bullet points. I think I've talked about this before in a podcast. We need to start with a cheap budget car. To me, best bang for your buck right now before they start going up is the 350Z. You can get those for really cheap right now. I don't know if they're going to take off like the 240 did, but they're a great platform. I see more and more. I see more and more 350Zs in the drift events every time I go to a drift event. So, or every time I watch videos on a drift event, especially locally here in Texas, I'm seeing a lot of Zs. So that's where we're gonna go. And the way I want to do this, I kind of want to do a whole different podcast on this, but the way I want to do this is I want to build a 350Z drift car, but I want to show you how you can fund it without using so much cash out of pocket, okay? And how we're going to fund it, talked about it earlier, flipping cars. That's how we're going to fund it. So we're going to fund a drift car from flipping cars, okay? The goal with the drift team is to make a name locally, start there, start in Texas and Louisiana, that type of stuff, Oklahoma, excuse me, and then potentially podium several events, you know. And the main goal is what? We're going to blow up, right? So the main goal is to acquire a pro card to Formula Drift. But that's down the road, man. These are goals, okay? These are goals. You got to set stuff that is possible, but that you're not close to yet. That way you can build up to that, right? That's the whole thing. We don't even have a drift car yet. We're talking about being in Formula Drift. That might sound crazy. That might sound dreamy, but you got to start somewhere, okay? You got to have a goal in mind before you can get going. So anyway, that's what we're doing. Start with 350Z, work on that. If we decide we don't like that platform, switch it up. But it's all going to be funded by flips. Hop into some local events, potentially podium on those. Work, however many years it takes on that. As long as we're still interested, you know, like I said, goals change. As long as we're still interested, boom, start winning, start podium at local events. Because I know a lot of these local events, if you win a lot of them, you can get a chance to go into not necessarily the pro card, but the amateur card. That's what I mean. You're gonna go amateur for Formula Drift, and then boom, you'll get your pro card. But you gotta do really good in amateurs. There's a lot of good talent there, and you gotta have a lot of money. That's fine. We'll work there. We'll work at that. So, and the little last thing. So, done with the big goals and the secondary goal for now. There's more than that. This is just kind of like the performance side of the goals. Okay, there's other goals for Seamless when it comes to apparel and product and stuff like that for the brand. But we'll talk about that in another podcast. We'll talk about that in another episode. But one little bonus here, one little thing that's an idea. It's just an idea. It's just an idea, just like the Rent-A-Bay shop is. Okay, starting a local drift series. I know there's some really good ones here in Texas, but there's not some that are really, really local. There's not some that are really local to East Texas, which we can spread out, okay? I mean, we can go everywhere, but there's not one that comes to East Texas. The closest is Dallas, right? I don't even know if there's a track around here. I've got to look into it, but it's just something that's going on in my head. But starting maybe a Seamless local drift series. That way we can get new guys into the game. You know what I'm saying? I feel like people can't necessarily travel, but they want to get the track time. If that means building a track, cool. Looky there, there's another goal, right? Building a drift track. Don't know. So, but that's not the goal right now, but I'll look into it. The other goals, we've already got set. So anyway, it's just something to think about, something I'm interested in. So I just want to let you guys know where my head's at. So anyway, that's it for the main goals and stuff. Is that what you expected? I don't know. Let me know in the comments. Is that what you expected? Did you expect these type of goals, or did you expect something else? Is there anything that you noticed that I've changed on? Ask me about it. Ask me if I'm still thinking about those things that maybe I brought up before. But anyway, we will see you on the next podcast. It's been your boy Stevie G, and I'm out. Later.